Their fifth studio album out right now is White Crosses. I'm with Tom from Against Me. Thank you so much, Tom, for being on the show with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Do you enjoy playing huge festivals like this, or do you prefer smaller venues where it's more intimate?
It's always better to play your own show, but festivals are fun. But it's usually the best experience ever, the worst experience ever. Just because oftentimes, like today, we're not playing on our own equipment. You're not getting a sound check. You're just kind of flying in, setting up, and hoping for the best. I realize that like a lot of that stuff, the audience doesn't even pick up on. It's really just amongst the band members on stage, So you kind of
you guys want perfection.
Yeah, that's what you're going for, right? Would you expect any less?
So do you guys have any pre-show rituals?
Well, we do what's called prep time, but about an hour before set time, we all meet up back here, and Pope, who is our LD, our lighting director, he's in charge of prep time, and he pours drinks. And so we'll have some drinks, and he'll play music on his computer or whatever, on his iPod, and he'll usually walk around the room and play air guitar too along to it. And
that's so funny.
Yeah, just kind of ramp it up, get in the party type vibe.
I know. I noticed some drinking back there, so I was like,
It's a necessity, It's important as the guitars, right?
Maybe I could take a couple shots for my interviews next time. Maybe it'll help.
Prep time for the interview.
Yeah. Your album out right now is White Crosses. Can you tell me where that name came from? I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
From what I read online.
I wrote the majority of the record while I was living in St. Augustine, Florida, and around the corner from my house there's a church. On the church lawn there was 4,000 white crosses. It was called the Cemetery of the Innocents, a big billboard behind it with a bunch of pictures of children's faces, and it was one cross to represent every abortion that happens in America every day, and just a complete eyesore to have to look at, going to and from. And I would fantasize daily about smashing all the crosses into the ground or driving my car off the road through the crosses. I didn't do that. I wrote a song about it.
You wrote a song about it instead?
Yeah, but I think that, there is something to be said for kind of acts of destruction like that, and they're oftentimes very cathartic feeling, and it's a good release, and for me, writing the record and playing the songs is similar.
Anyway, so the album was actually slated to have 12 songs on it, but then it came out with 10.
I think I just did an interview like before we had finalized track listing, and I thought it was going to be 12 songs at the time. Oftentimes when you go into making a record, the songs that you think are going to be your favorite going into it end up not even making it, and the songs.
How does the editing process go though? Like, what makes you choose? Like, I like these guys, not these guys. It's like they're your kids. It's hard to choose.
Well, yeah, no, and it changes literally every day. Oftentimes, you just kind of the songs that you stick with the longest and make it through to the end, and I don't know. There comes a time where you have to make decisions, so.
But I also know that the album actually leaked online like 3 months prior to when it was supposed to come out.
It did, yeah.
So how did you feel about that? Are you kind of not cool with what happened, or kind of like because the fans were aware of the music?
Oh, I support and embrace people downloading it.
That's
I
awesome.
think that as long as people are listening, that's the point. That's why we made it. And in this day and age, that's just a reality.
So that's your views on piracy? Like, it's as long as they enjoy the music, that's what it's about?
I think that bands should be supported, and that it does cost money to make the records, and hopefully people, if they really like it, they'll buy a physical copy of it, or they'll come out to a show and support the bands in some way. I mean, we aren't the only band that's ever had a record leak or anything like that. The bottom line is it doesn't change the record you made. If it's a good record, it's still a good record. So.
And it was produced by Butch Vig, who also produced one of the Nirvana albums.
Yes.
So how is it working with him as a producer? This has been really fun.
Fantastic, man. It's the second time we've worked with him, and I feel like we got really lucky in that he's an amazingly talented person and also someone I respect 100%. So.
The album out right now is White Crosses. Thank you so much, Tom, for being on the show. I hope you have a good day.
Thank you for having me.